Hi, this is Chuck Gardner, and this is another one of my boring golf tutorials. In this tutorial, I want to follow up on what I talked about in the last video, which was keeping a constant swing radius of the hands. If you keep track of where your hands are, the club will follow automatically if you use a good grip. The one that I've been showing you repeatedly, and I'll repeat again. You start with the base of your thumb over the top of the handle, put the base of the thumb of the trail hand over it, wrap the hands around, then lower the club. The club will be in the center of your body. You rotate it with your body turn. That's where the energy of the golf swing comes from. Now, one of the things I like to do, just to pull people's chains, particularly golf professionals, is I will go up to the PGA professional and ask, well, sir, what do you consider the best measure of a good golf swing? And I get all sorts of different answers, and they're all wrong. The answer I tell them is something that the Sumerians came up with in, I don't know, 3000 BC or something like that. And that is a unit of measurement called a cubit. A cubit is exactly this long. Now it varies depending on how long your arms are, so it's not a very precise form of measurement, but it's a joke, right? So the whole thing about Hogan starting with connecting his elbows to his body and focusing on that and limiting the amount of movement in his trail arm to connect it and folding his lead arm, that is all related to keeping the swing radius constant. It becomes such a no-brainer to hit consistent golf shots if you physically connect this arm to your body. You cannot move the club without moving your body. So it is not difficult, particularly if chipping, if you physically connect your body to your hip bone, to your elbow bone, it is not very difficult to get a consistent chip. Now, the face angle of the club is going to determine the starting direction. So it's critical that the ball releases off the face when the face of the club is square to the target. So that takes some trial and error. You really have to start with the club face open about 15, 20 degrees behind the ball in order to get it to go straight. That's going a little bit left, so I need to open it a little more. You just basically open the face until after impact it's going right. And if it goes left, like I'm not finishing through my hips as much. So you have to get your hips rotating into your finish, lifting your back leg all the way in a full swing in order for it to work. Now, this is taking it to the next level, and that is the fact that a pro golfer, pro level golfer, advanced golfers almost never ever try to hit a ball dead straight. And the reason for that is what creates the backspin that controls the flight of the ball. When you have a ball here, and let me see if this camera will focus as I walk closer. You have backspin on the ball. Backspin is created by swiping the face of the club across the back of the ball. With a straight hit, you are hitting the back of the ball and trying to get spin with the axis horizontal. What happens when you fade the ball is you come with a swiping action across the outside. That tilts the spin axis and causes the ball to go this way. If you do a draw action where you swipe across the inside of the ball, then it tilts this way and the ball flies with backspin that way. It is the backspin and the tilting of the spin axis which creates the differential which causes the ball to curve. That's why the ball has dimples to create airflow like an airplane wing. So, it is actually much easier to get consistent shots if you set up and intentionally try to put either fade or draw spin on the ball. The reason for that is that you get better backspin action with a swiping of an open or closed face across the back of the ball than trying to swipe dead center on the ball. It's a matter of how the contact area of the face hits the ball. So to set up from a straight baseline here for a fade, all you do is you open your stance and leave the face about the same, and then you hit with a swipe across the ball. For a draw, which I suggest everyone try to learn first, they're more difficult. So, hey, quiet. Eddie, stop it. What should... That was your ball, I'm sorry. I had his favorite ball, so that was the problem. Now, as I was saying, with a draw, what you want to do is close your stance and close the face of the club relative to your stance, and that is going to create a swiping action on the inside of the ball. Now, in order to do that, you need to start with a club with some loft on it. I do all of my practice starting out for shape shots, and on the range, I always start with my 7-iron. The reason for that is it's in the middle of the length of the clubs, so I can get good balance and adjust my lie angle and everything, get calibrated that way. And I can either open or close the face quite a bit to make it from a 7-iron into an 8-iron or a 9-iron, or even a pitching wedge, or I can close it and go from 7 to 6 to 5 to hit a draw. Now, if you experiment with that, there's actually 3 variables. One is your stance, that's the first one, then the face angle. The other is the position of the ball will change slightly relative to your feet. It will move back for a draw and move up for a fade. And the way you do that is you just set up your stance and your club face, and then do a swing, keeping your fulcrum connected here, and bring the club down, and just see where the club is hitting the ground, and that tells you relative to your feet where you want to put the ball. When you begin shaping shots, it really adds a new dimension to the game because, one, you control the flight of the ball better, more predictably, and secondly, you can control what happens to the ball after it lands. The reason you want to hit a fade is because after it lands, the ball will kick from left to right towards the pin and back. So if you have a back pin, you aim for the left side of the green, knowing that the ball is going to release from left to right. The draw is the opposite. If you have a green that's facing the other direction, you set up for the draw with the expectation that the ball is going to come in. What I do is I imagine that I'm flying a plane and trying to land it with a runway, lining up with the runway. So what I'm doing, if I'm hitting a fade, is I'm doing a clockwise pattern into the runway, and if I'm doing a draw, I'm doing a counterclockwise approach into the runway. And, you know, it's, for me, the game is a lot more fun that way. And it really amazes me that so few golfers today try to shape shots. One, because doing it on the range with range balls gets expensive, but that's why it's to your advantage to go to a crappy municipal course at noon where nobody is playing it. Just book a solo round and just go out there when nobody else is on the course and just dick around and hit shots. You will improve your game that way much faster than hitting range balls. So that's the advice for today, for what it's worth. Take it for what you paid for it, and come back again if you find it interesting. Thanks for watching.